Hello, friends. The 794th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. The American Institute for the Study of War believes that Russian forces are stabilizing their salient northwest of Avdiivka and could achieve further tactical gains that could force Ukrainian forces to withdraw from other positions west of Avdiivka. Since April 18, Russian troops have advanced about 5 kilometers in this direction, the Institute writes. British intelligence suggests that Russia will be able to capture several more small settlements. And he also notes that the advance of Russian troops in this area has accelerated over the past week. Let me remind you that the Russians managed to break through the defenses in Yevhenii. According to media reports, this happened due to the abandonment of positions by one of the units of the Ukrainian armed forces without orders. Meanwhile, the Russians continue to develop their offensive in the Avdiivka direction. The Ukrainian military telegram channel Deep State writes that the Russians have captured Solovyovi and Semenivka, as well as almost all of Yevhenii. Now, the village of Berdichi is actually semi-encircled, where the Ukrainian armed forces are still holding their defense on the outskirts. The situation continues to worsen. In the current conditions, the main thing is to move normally to a new frontier while saving people. And of course, do not allow observation posts to be surrounded, because all the military are now monitoring the events. No one needs demoralization. Because a soldier's radio knows more than a TV speaker, writes Deep State. At the same time, the Ukrainian armed forces officially deny serious advances by the Russians in these areas. As Voloshin, the speaker of the Operational Strategic Group of Troops Kortitsa, said, the Ukrainian army now controls 2/3 of Yevhenii, as well as 2 or 3 villages of Solovyovi. At the same time, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Syrsky, today announced a difficult operational strategic situation at the front, which tends to escalate. I informed the coalition members about the difficult operational strategic situation, which has a tendency to escalate, he wrote on Facebook. Today, according to Russian telegram channels, the Russian army is developing an offensive northeast of Yevhenii and has captured the villages of Keramik and Novokalinovi, and is also advancing towards Arkhangelsk. According to data from the Ukrainian side, today in Novokalinovi the enemy advanced along Stavkova Street to a depth of 650 meters and along Pershatravneva Street to a depth of 780 meters. Judging by the Deep State map, the Russians have entered Keramik. The telegram channel does not confirm the complete capture of this village, as well as Novokalinovi. The western part of Yevhenii came under the control of Russian troops. The enemy has partial success in the northern and northeastern directions in an area up to 2.7 kilometers wide and to a depth of 720 meters. South of Solovyovi and Novobakhmitivka, the enemy attacks along forest belts in a southern direction. But the bad news doesn't end there. The Russians broke through the Ukrainian defense in Kyslivka on the Kupiansk section of the Kharkiv direction, Deep State reports. According to the telegram channel, yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, the Russians began massive counteroffensive operations in Kyslivka, and by the end of the day they had gained a foothold in the village. The location of the attack was chosen by a unit of the Territorial Defense Forces, limited in strength and means. It's annoying for the guys to lose ground, but without the support of heavy weapons, the situation could get significantly worse, writes Deep State. The enemy's advance is recorded in an area up to 1.85 kilometers wide and to a depth of up to 600 meters. Active hostilities continue. We are monitoring the situation. The Western press, represented by Forbes, writes that a desperate situation has developed for the Ukrainian armed forces in the Yevhenii region. The Russians have broken through the defenses and are bringing in reinforcements. In total, they have up to 10,000 troops in this area. It is a foregone conclusion that the Ukrainians will lose several villages around the Territorial direction, writes military columnist for the publication David Axe. In his opinion, the Tavria group will have no choice but to retreat a few miles to the west and stop along the new defense line southwest of Territorial. But the predetermined retreat is fraught with risks for the Ukrainian armed forces, since it could lead to the surrender of tens of square miles of territory. Worse, the retreat, if done poorly, will provide the Russians with the opportunity to redouble their local attacks and achieve a second, third, or fourth breakthrough that could trigger a broader Ukrainian collapse as a chain reaction, the article says. This situation, according to the Observer, is the subject of heated debate in Kiev. Some believe that the 115th Brigade, which could not withstand the onslaught of Russia, is to blame for this. Others say the problem is that the team is understaffed due to a pause in supplies from the United States. Friends, this channel exists solely thanks to your support. If you have the opportunity and desire to support the channel, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.